going to ask it anyway. What can we as individuals do, if anything? I know you hate this question, but I'm going to ask it just because I know people would like to know if there's anything that they can do.
Well, and you've heard this before, but system, not just the person, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a balance where a lot of us shoulder the responsibility for the systemic failure to abandon plastics, but yes, of course, the consumer has some power. I'm not denying that. I've heard people talk my ear off about that, but the one way that we're actually going to see change is when a coffee cup made out of seaweed bioplastic costs the same as a normal plastic cup. And the way that we're going to see that, actually, this isn't. I'm going to give you a little iteration on this answer, Jeff.
Okay.
Is the way we're going to see that is not only by supporting these startups, but also by lobbying for plastic taxes and things, and creating, at least, if not by our own choices, at the very least, as consumers, at the very least, like talking to policymakers and saying, we think about it this way as a capitalistic context. We are, for bioplastics specifically, they're competing with a decades to probably century plus old industry in plastic, right? They've had so much time to refine their processes and get them so freaking cheap, right? And again, we're on pace to have more plastic than fish in the ocean in the next 30 years, if not less. And we have to compete against that to make bioplastics cheaper or the same price for people to actually buy them, right? But that's, in my mind, the only way that we're actually going to see plastic get truly replaced, unless legislation's passed to make it more expensive, right? So that's on one. I would just say on the other side, specific to Seaworthy, and actually for our startups now that we have our cohort, your support matters. This Wednesday, we have our launch party, which I hope you'll be able to make, Jeff, at Cerveceria La Tropical in Wynwood at 6 o'clock. And, I just think when we talk about building community, we've had no problem with getting people to show up, and we're nearing 100 RSVPs for Wednesday, so that's looking good. But, it show up not only just to support, but show up, and this is getting back to the culture of Seaworthy, just like share resources, offer resources. We're not looking to compete. We're not looking to, this is not a monopolistic space. There you go. That's a word. We're looking to collaborate. A great example is we have a seaweed startup in our cohort that we're co-creating, and there's an existing seaweed startup also in our cohort. And anyone would say, why are you creating a startup to compete with one of your other startups? But everyone understands we just need more of these solutions to solve the problem, right?
It's a big space.
There's no shortage of resources that we know that can help these startups. And so if you're someone who has, when I say resource, I mean any sort of skill that can help a business, right? These are, at the end of the day, these aren't just ocean innovations, these are businesses. And that, again, is interdisciplinary, and people need help. And so that's why we build our mentor and collaborator network. That's why I encourage people to reach out if they want to be a part of it. We're always growing it. The fact that we're already at over 100 people in 10 months, or people and organizations in 10 months, really shows just the level of, willingness there is to help, right? To actually tie in the Miami Tech piece, how can I help is literally, our bread and butter, right?
Yeah, for sure.